Hello, hello. This is Jen Hart, the Jen Hart Be Awesome and the Pleasure Principle. Today, I wanted to talk about something very important that I think we often forget as a collective, as an individual, as the whole thing. That the power of your yes is equal to the power of your ability to say no. This is the ultimate in being able to not only take care of yourself, to have win-win scenarios with other people, to be more in alignment with who you are, with being less people-pleasing, without resentment, without anxiety, all the things. So the reason why the power of yes is super important is because your yeses are the things that you're passionate about, the things that bring you pleasure, the things that maybe they're not always pleasurable, the things that are in alignment, like the things that you're disciplined in to get to your ultimate purpose. So my whole shtick is about your passion, pleasure, and purpose. Purpose in your life, purpose in an area of your life. It doesn't even have to be like grandiose, like, oh, I want to be a millionaire or I want to run a business. Those might be the pathway to your purpose, but your purpose is individual to you just as much as your passions and pleasure. There might be people that are in the mix that have similar values as that. But the pathway is always different, generally. The reason why I talk about the power of no, I say this from my own personal experience, is that I grew up in a toxic, loving, but also confusing family dynamic. And I learned really unhealthy coping skills, and mostly about people-pleasing and codependency. Enabling bad behavior. My bad behavior was enabled. It was all like fun and mess. So as I got older and learned that I was getting increasingly depressed and anxious about things, and some of it's valid, like just in terms of biology, but also some of it was very much about me not living in my truth, me saying maybe, or me saying yes to things that were not in alignment with myself. So one example would be sometimes dating the wrong people when I was younger. When my body would say no, but my head was confused and said yes to things that I didn't really want, or because I was people pleasing, my body and my mind said no, but I didn't know how to say no because I didn't feel that I was valuable. My being, my needs in and of themselves were not enough, which is crazy. If you logically think about it, your needs as an individual person set the standards for your life. If you don't want to date people that are unhealthy, whether it's drugs or alcohol or lying, manipulation, any sort of toxicity, or meaning like if you don't want that and then you say yes to it, you're immediately self-abandoning yourself. Fancy word for saying your yes means nothing now because your no stood for nothing. And this might sound harsh, but it's the absolute truth is that you're the one in power here. Even though there are situations where people are victimized, and I was one of them as a child, but at the same time, as an adult, we have free agency, literal free agency to be able to say no, so we can say yes. And the reason why our yeses aren't as powerful is because our ability to say no is flaccid. Our ability to say no isn't potent. Our ability to say no to the things that don't align with us. And the word alignment, if something feels uncomfortable. No, because sometimes things will feel uncomfortable, like self-discipline. and there are many reasons why self-discipline doesn't feel good. It could be trauma background. You could have issues with self-integrity, lots of fears about, moving forward. There could be a whole bunch of scenarios. I don't know why now I have hiccups or whatever. Maybe I don't. But the whole crux of it all is that if you don't know how to be and know what you desire, whether it's not moving across country or not not taking a job that doesn't work for you. Or what would be another no? Oh, now this is a tricky one. Like not saying no to fast food, even though it's easy and convenient. And, I don't have time. And I mean, we all have done this. And technically, if you're in your own calories and you exercise, that necessarily in terms of a weight loss level doesn't matter. But in terms of a health matter, it matters. And if health is so for a value, say if ultimate health is your priority, is a value of yours. Say, that's what you say at least. And you do the opposite things, meaning you don't say no to the things that are unhealthy. Smoking, drugs, excessive fast food, excessive fat. These are just examples. I mean, your particular situation and your body is different. It's just to give you a concept of, if I don't say no to these things, it's not like no forever, but like no on a consistent basis so I reach my health goal. If your health goal is overall health for a lifetime, most likely fast food is like once a month, maybe once every 3 months. It's not consistently every week. And that's point blank. We all know this logically, but we don't always have the power of our passion around our yes. We don't have enough why around our yes. We don't have enough pleasure around our yes, because sometimes it is a pleasure balance because we don't want the pain of saying no to something. So sometimes, especially with codependent relationships, is that we don't want the pain of saying no to someone that we love and care about, or even if we don't really love and care about them, we're just so anxious around that no of like, I don't want to do this, but I'm compelled, like an addiction, to say yes, even though I know internally with every might of my being that this is wrong for me. That's the toxicity. That is where your yes means absolutely nothing, and your no, the ability to say no, needs to be amplified, needs to be growing. And that takes multiple levels of practice, being uncomfortable when it's anxiety provoking. 2, you have to believe that your needs, wants, and desires matter. It doesn't necessarily trump everybody else's, but they can't be lower. It's just not even possible that, and with proper relationships, whether it's friendship or romantic or even business, the win-win is what we're all striving for a happier, healthier life. Win-win means that, say your boss wants to pay you and you've agreed to a level of payment, and there's a mutual happiness or agreement there where the amount of work that you're doing and the amount of what they're paying you is agreed upon. That's the yes. The no is when there's more resentment of, I have too much work, the work is not being supported or valued, there's no appreciation on this side, maybe there's not enough pay, the employer is like, they're getting lazy, they're not doing what I've requested, I'm not going to communicate that, so I'm just going to completely stay low, or going to dock their pay, or I'm going to not give them a bonus, or whatever those work scenarios might be. In terms of relationships, like when there is negotiation, which should be negotiating, not in terms of negotiating less for you, just how can two people, whether it's romantic or personal, how can two people find the path to the same path, the same value, the same goal, whether it's moving in a location that somebody doesn't want to move to, well, then that's not good for the relationship as a whole. It's basically asking for the relationship to dissolve. And it's because somebody's needs and wants are trumping the other, which will never work in the long run. The same with your own internal relationship with yourself, the relationship with your money. And that's the consciousness level that we should ideally get to, is that when we say yes to something, we know why we're saying yes to it. We know why we're saying yes to saving money versus spending it on something, and not necessarily frivolous. It's just spending it on, what are the goals? The challenging part is that if you have a codependent mindset, or if you have a people-pleasing construct paradigm that's running in your background, you're going to live your life as if it's not yours. And when you don't live your life for yourself, obviously we're in a community. So you do have to take in consideration other people. But the consideration of other people has to be equal on the other side too. So, and equal is relative, obviously, because it goes back and forth. Like there isn't a perfect line where everybody gets what they want all the time. That's childish and immature and not even healthy, because life is not gimme, like Veruca Salt, like everything that we want all the time. That creates spoiledness and that creates entitlement. But at the same token, never getting what you want will create that too. Never getting what you want makes you feel entitled and stingy and angry and resentful, which causes a whole host of negativity and problems. So the balance, to me, is the yin and yang of it all, is that you have to learn how to say no, and not in a belligerent no. It's like, this doesn't work for me. Where can we find a solution otherwise? It's that simple. And if the other person on the other side is not willing, that person might not be the person that you want to interact with on a regular basis. That's challenging when it's family. Super challenging when it's family. And that means you have to create a stronger boundary within you, so you do not let yourself slide back to old patterns and behaviors that are unhealthy for your health. Because right in those dynamics where somebody isn't allowing the mutual understanding that both parties need to be happy in all areas of life, including money and your health. Like, your body needs to be healthy. So getting enough rest and eating well and doing these things, I don't know what's going on, eating well and doing things that are good for your body are important. And then you have to take in consideration everything else in life. So this is why it can be complexing, because it seems like a lot. But in the brass tacks of things, yes, I don't even know what that saying means other than I've heard it 1,000 times growing up. It's like the brass tacks. It's like basically the basic level of something is learn what your yeses are, what your why is. Why do you want to live here? What do you want? Because you have to give yourself that permission to be, the permission and agency to say, I want this. I want this type of relationship. I want an open communication, loving, passionate, deeply intimate, emotionally sharing relationship. So I'm going to say no to people that lie to me. I'm going to say no to people that can't be open, or even if they're not even trying. So that's half the battle. If I'm not going to date somebody who doesn't ask me out, I'm not going, I mean, of course, as a female, it's a little more complicated in this world. You kind of have to open the door, like in old fashioned times. I think Matthew Hussey said something about, in the olden days, women would drop a handkerchief to the men, in front of the men that they thought, oh, that might be a good suitor. We don't have that very much anymore, other than a wink or something on a DM or whatnot. And that's way more like weird. But at the very least, if somebody is asking you out, you say yes or no, and that will be a definitive factor. So in terms of dating, what do you want? What are your needs? And being able to say no to the things that aren't that. Same with health. Same with money. Same with business. So if you're working with clients and they're not quite the right fit for whatever reason, like I used to be in mental health, I have personality disordered people, people with anxiety and depression, people on the autism spectrum, people who had other traumatic brain injuries. You name it, I've worked with that type of person. And at this level, I can say no to certain things that, like, if this person has this level of trauma, I'm not the expert. Or even if I have expertise in it, this is not my wheelhouse right now. This will not serve me in my own health. So I have to say no to those. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve to get help. This does not mean that they don't deserve quality of healthcare and connection and That doesn't mean at all. It just means, what do I need? What do I want in terms of clients? And vice versa. What does the client need? Maybe I'm not serving them if I'm not giving my all, my ability to be present for somebody. That's on them as well. Everybody has their own agency here. But since I'm speaking to you as an individual right now, excuse me, what do you want? And sometimes we have no clue, especially when we get out of toxic situations, toxic families. You wouldn't even have a choice to say it, that you wanted something. Practice on the little things. Like when you go to the store or when you go get food, what do you want? Like ask your gut, ask your body, ask your mind, and then also butt it up against, what do you value? So your body might say, I want a cheeseburger, but you also have a health desire. This is what boundaries are, ladies and gentlemen. As annoying as this is, it's going to be flexible. Now, certain boundaries are like non-negotiables. Like say if you're a vegan, you'll never eat meat. It would have to be a very dire life and death situation. And even then, as you've seen on Naked and Afraid, there's this girl that only lived on breath and maybe like honey or something, or I don't even know. Bugs. Maybe she didn't even eat bugs. I don't know. The point is, I don't know. My brain. Maybe more caffeine. Your non-negotiables are the things that are like non-negotiable. Like not getting beaten in a relationship, not being emotionally abused, not being used in a relationship. And I don't mean in a BDSM type of fun type of using. I mean in a non-consensual abuse or using relationship. We all know, we've all probably been in those types of scenarios, whether it's being family or in work, let's be honest, and sometimes in romantic relationships. So those would be non-negotiable if it's bad for your mental, physical, and emotional health. So that would be a hard no. That no will empower your yes. Always. Trumps everything. So, in other subtle areas of your life, the more conscientious you are about what your hard no's are, will help you inform your hard yeses. Like, that's an absolute. Like, I can't wait to have fun there. I can't wait to do that. Or, like, I'm very excited about my passion, pleasure, purpose, or whatever. You'll have more energy because you're not trying to butt up against the resistance of saying yes when you meant no. It's a whole lot of like lack of acknowledgement of yourself, and that creates anxiety and that creates depression, because if you say no to yourself a million times because you said yes to somebody else and now you're miserable, what the fuck is that? What the fuck? We've all done it, so there's no shade. There's no shaming it either. It's not like, oh, you're a bad person because you did this. You're not a bad person. You were running a program that was not serving you. And now you have conscious ability and agency to stop that pattern. And it might be difficult because we're creatures of habit. And it might be uncomfortable because saying no to something or someone that was able to get yeses out of you at different times because you were easily moved because of your own stuff, that's a tough pill to swallow. But it's also imperative so you take back your power. And you deserve your personal power, because then you can have more pleasure, passion, and purpose in your life. It doesn't come out of thin air. Like, oh, I'm magically going to be saved, because that's just not happening. And the quicker you come to that realization is that, yes, good things happen miraculously, of course, but you're not on the path if you continually say no to yourself and yes to things that are not alignment to you. It's literally a dead end to misery, because I've lived it. And taking from my own past, like in terms of extreme abuse or in any sort of way, is that those are the times where it's like, this is not acceptable at all. we will be able to say no to things on the outside. So when somebody is getting hurt externally to us, we will have the agency and the power to say, stop yelling at that person. Stop being an asshole. Stop treating that other person with disrespect. But first, we have to know how to do that for ourselves. How do you give yourself self-respect? By saying no to things that aren't in alignment and saying yes to things that are. And it's practice. And that's all there is. Practice, practice, practice. Fuck it up. Fuck it up. Get it wrong. Fuck it up. Practice. Get it. Continue moving forward. That's the only way. That's the only way to get a sense of, I wouldn't even say happiness, although happiness is a byproduct. It's this level of power that allows you to do what you want in the world. Because you're allowed. I'm going to say it for the back. You are worth it. You personally, without any other external needs or factors, your wants, needs, and desires are important. But the only person that can give it to you is you. Because you have to say no. You have to say no to things that don't serve your yes. These are called standards. These are called thoughts that, if you continuously think negative about yourself, of course the byproduct's going to be, I feel shitty. So you have to stop those thoughts. Sometimes it's more challenging if you have ruminating or other types of thoughts. Or if you're in a depressive state, move your ass. Literally, move your body. You have to get out of the state. There's so many resources, and I will be putting them up soon anyway. Or get support. Get support from a therapist, a coach, someone who can guide you, but not tell you what to do. Not tell you like you're a bad person because you're not following the rules. Because let's be honest, there are a lot of codependent relationships in therapy. There are a lot of codependent relationships in coaching. And of course, if you're paying a coach to be there for you, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be present for you. They hold you accountable just by being a mirror, being like, yeah, you really didn't treat yourself well. You deserve more than that. And then the what is it? The, not light bulbs, but the aha moments of your brain are going like, yeah, I shouldn't have been disrespected like that. How come I let myself be that way? And not to pity yourself, but be like, okay, what's the next step forward? I love and accept myself as I am. I love and accept the past. Maybe not love, but like I forgive the past and I'm now moving forward. How do I do that? Sometimes a coach will help direct you in terms of possibilities. With coaching, therapy, any type of support, even if it's a really good friend that you actually respect. If you respect an amazing friend of yours, it's all the same in terms of, can you take the coaching? Can you receive what they might give? Sometimes no. Depends on your mindset and depends on whether or not you are so dependent on someone else that might not be a good idea. So it's all fluid. There's no black and white here. This is why it's fun and challenging. But the whole point of this talk, because I could go on a million tangents, is that the power of your yes is equal to the power of your ability to say no to the things that do not serve your yes. I hope this helps. I have one-on-one coaching available. I have a program coming up that will be on pre-sale soon. It's called Brilliant Resilience. So if you want information on that, comment or direct message. I like to play with my finger. It's getting exercise. Woo woo. I'm getting silly. Yes. So I have one-on-one coaching available. 3 month, 6 month packages. Also drop in to see if we vibe and work well with each other. So yeah, message me. I will talk to you soon. Have a fabulous day. You deserve your wants, needs, and desires met, but you have the agency to do so, to meet them and get support. Now's your chance. See you soon.